Views from the friend zone, it's your time. We giving you real talk, so stay on your grind. We just trying to laugh and have a good time. We dropping them jewels so that all our people can shine. Views from the friend zone, it's your time. We giving you real talk, so stay on your grind. We just trying to laugh and have a good time. We dropping them jewels so that all our people can shine.
Yeah. Welcome to another edition of Views from the Friend Zone podcast. It's your boy, Real Talk Marv. Happy Sunday, y'all. It's blessed to, be back in the building. The Olympics started. The U.S. caught a loss, crazy to France. You know what I'm saying? Frank Ntilikina is a bum on the Knicks, but for some reason he become Jordan Ntilikina when he played in the Olympics and stuff like that. But, I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves. Started to my right.
It's your boy, Cliff Brockman.
It's your boy Open Shirt Poppy. What up, y'all?
And then the guest.
Yo, what's good? This is Ice Guy.
What's going on? It's your boy Han.
Nice. So you guys are part of the CodeSix family kind of thinking. Let us expand upon that. Let them know like what y'all represent. How they can get in contact with y'all and what y'all got going on.
So CodeSix is something that my cousin and I a few years ago, quite a while ago, is something that we really wanted to do. Just musically, but kind of also just tie in all the things that that we love, whether it be our love of cars or streetwear and those types of things, media, and just kind of pulling them all together under one umbrella and really just expanding upon it. But the music is like the base.
Yeah.
Of everything.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Same thing. He basically summed it up in a beautiful package. Is this? Yeah. We came up with it a long time ago, and we're expanding on it now. We starting to make some moves with it, and that's basically it.
Okay, so CodeSix, how did you come up with the name?
Actually, you came up with the name. Technically, you think about it, yeah.
I came up with the name. I played Need for Speed. We're big car people. We're big car fans. I was playing Need for Speed Underground, the one for PlayStation. Mm-hmm. The best one, mind you.
No, it was Most Wanted. Need for Speed
Most Wanted. Excuse me. Yeah.
Excuse me. Most Wanted.
It was Most Wanted, right? And when the cops start to chase you, they call it a CodeSix, right? And I was I kind of like that name.
Yeah, and what it meant was, if you play the game further, they break down all the codes in the game, and CodeSix specifically meant a street racer that got away.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
CodeSix music, bro.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. You guys have any questions yet? Okay, so from my understanding, shout out to Lady Still. Lady Still's our connection.
Yeah, shout out Lady Still.
PR manager. I've known Lady Still for years. I've done a couple of shows. I've done her show. On a previous podcast I was on, she was a guest, so Lady Still's the family. I was at her agency premiere opening yesterday. It was cool vibes, nice little spot in Richmond. We'll have her on in the future for her to plug what she got going on and stuff like that, but that was our connection and our ties. So now, producer, artist, right? Yeah. So musical influences wise, like who's your musical influence and how would you define your sound?
Man, defining my sound is interesting because I've always had this weird thing where I kind of fall into, I feel like more of like a visually curated space, if that makes sense. So, for example, when I hear like if he makes a beat or I have anyone who I mess with who sends me a beat, depending on the mood it puts me in, that kind of makes me start thinking of a project as far as the cover, how it's going to look, and just all these different things. So, as far as inspirations go, I'm a huge Lupe Fiasco fan.
Okay.
Like, of course, we from Brooklyn, like, Biggie and Big Hove, like, especially Hove, but it's one of those things where, I grew up in an era where, I was a real nerdy kid, I was into, like, martial arts and all types of stuff, but at the same time, just growing up in, like, East New York and then really trying to find my footing, guys like Lupe, it kind of made me feel like someone like me could rap. You know what I mean? Like, there was being born, because I came up in the 90s, so just the influences that we had made me feel like someone like me, if that makes any sense, rapping, no one would really buy it.
Yeah.
But because of that, I kind of used to just kind of do my thing behind the scenes and just write my stuff and, just kind of figure out my own lane. So if I had to say anything, I would definitely say that, lyrically and just energy-wise, I'm definitely on par with my contemporaries, or the people who inspire me. So, but Lupe Fiasco, I'm a huge Mac Miller fan. You know what I mean? Like, so definitely up there. Yeah, rest in peace to the G. Yeah.
What about you as a producer?
As a producer, in order for me to make music that's close to my heart, I try not to listen to too many people. But a lot of my inspirations, my biggest inspiration is Just Blaze when it comes to beats. Timbaland, uh, Jay Dilla, Big Jay Dilla. I love his. I love us.
Yeah.
I love Donuts. I love that album. Yeah. So that's. I grew up in Brownsville. I grew up in Brownsville down at Prospect Place. So, a rapper. When it comes to rappers, my big inspiration was Bill Dance from NOP. Bill Dance is a little
Yeah.
So those are. So yeah. I love those guys. Those are that hands down. That's my favorite group of all time. Jay-Z. Who else?
Laundry list, man. Right?
It's a big list. Busta Rhymes, yeah.
I want to hop on what you were saying as far as like your influence with Fiasco, and you know that resonated with me in the sense of like growing up. You know, I'm an '80s baby, and then I also used to rhyme as well, but more of my influences, and then I come from a family, so it's just like my side of the family, our side of the family. We hit the books, but then we also have street ties too. And then when you grow up in the hood and you smart, it's that struggle, right?
Yeah.
Like lyrically, Biggie's always gonna be my top influence. Nas, Jay-Z, just like everybody else. But then that kind of also merged your content, right? So I hit a certain age where I stopped rapping because it was just like, yo, I'm Big Meech Rick Ross in my bars, but
I feel you.
I work corporate. I got a master's degree. It just didn't work. And then to be your authentic self, it's tough, right? But that still is my musical influence, right? Like, I listen to a lot of these young guys and I get excited and stuff like that. But then we spoke about this one of our last episodes. I listen to Griselda Family.
Shout out Griselda.
And then it just gets you, but like that's the element of hip hop that I love. But I like the fact that we have Lupe. We have Kendrick, we have J. Cole, that allowed you to be intelligent, spit bars, and understand, like, you know, nerds or straight 9-to-5 dudes, like, we in the hood, too. So everything that everybody else see, we see that influence us as well, but at the same time, I can't tell you that I'm cutting up bricks in my kitchen and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? So,
Just want to come across, right?
yeah, so it's tough, right, because I felt, like lyrically, I felt that I was good. You know what I'm saying? And then I would get that kind of influence. And then after a while, you just like, yo, you know what I'm saying? There's all your gun bars and drug bars and stuff like that. Like, I was tied enough to people doing that stuff that I could have had people like, you know, backing me and stuff like that. Or nobody was going to say, oh, he's soft, he stayed in the house. Because I was outside, but I wasn't outside like ripping and running hand to hand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like people in the hood knew me because I was outside with everybody else. So that's a good thing that, you know, hip hop grew enough to have that expound where you have the Lupes, you have the Kendricks and stuff, right? Because we need all of that. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna lie to you, that Jeezy, that Griselda rap, that's always gonna be me. You know what I'm saying?
Even if your bars is creative enough, you don't necessarily have to be into that life to talk about it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And talk around it.
Yeah.
Like you said, you may not have done it yourself, but you associated people who done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you know the kind of life they live. And they
You know the
necessarily
pain
what
of
you
it
live.
too.
Yeah.
Because when they get locked up, you feel that pain too. You're not in the streets. You got to scramble up the bail money and stuff like that when they get locked up. So it's just like you're not connected as far as you taking those risks, but it still hurts you the same.
I feel like the focus of hip hop, where you can't go wrong, everybody struggles. One struggle is, no different from the other. It's just different struggles.
But that's the
and
thing
then when
too.
you talk
Like
about chicks,
people try like that struggle Olympics thing, where it's always just trying to like juxtapose.
Bring your mic
and,
closer
like,
to you, so I want to pick up everything.
No, so I feel you on that. I mean, I think that's the benefit with us too, where sometimes like there's things that you work at, and sometimes you just kind of win like a certain type of lottery, like whether it's the genetic lottery or just some type of luck. And I think the luck with us specifically has been
Genetic.
even separate from, I feel like we've been in this blessed position where when it comes to the music we make and the lifestyles that we've led and things like that, it's been easy to be our authentic selves without being like niche, kind of like you said, you might have like clever, and this is like no knock on him, but kind of like with Childish Gambino, like he has such a specific niche to his rhymes and the way he spits that you have people start running off a list of rappers who fall into a particular category. And I think that we've been real blessed in just being able to be our authentic selves, as I said, and not have to worry about falling into a particular pocket. Like the type of music we make, like I could very well have like I could very well have Jeezy as a feature, you know what I mean? But I could also very well have someone like Utada Hikaru on a song.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
but I think it's better for like an artist such as yourself and artists, you know, of that ilk, because you can, I think, do more than say necessarily like a gangster rapper or whatever. Yeah. They got a specific lane that's just their lane.
Yeah.
They can't really expand out of it without looking like, yo.
Yeah, you don't have to put yourself in the box.
You know
Facts. And then sometimes you try to step outside that box, but you've kind of already boxed yourself in so much that people start looking at it as desperation or like, because like you said, you know, growing up in a particular era, like rock and everything, like we come from a musical family, so separate from hip hop, like all types of genres just flow through our, you know, our family and all like our uncles are the Jive Five, you know, like legendary Motown group, created the Nickelodeon theme. Like whether you were singing in my family or playing an instrument or writing or something, all of us have some type of something music in our DNA. And it's just been like one of those things where it just felt like a natural extension of our beings. You know, like this is what we were gonna do, and we just wanted to do it at a high level. You know?
Yeah. So if you see us, you can see us at car meets. We'll be at car meets. See us. We'll be skateboarding. You see us at a Durham Gray concert. You know what I mean? We're all around. We're all around people. That's just how we like to live our life. We don't like to put ourselves in that box where, because you came from this area, you have to play by those rules and you have to be that type of person. It's just like we expand ourselves. We expand our horizons.
And the benefit of that being like when you were true, you know, kind of like with hip hop, you know, when you're a student of the game, you can recognize that authenticity, and the same applies to other genres. So like, you know, I can sit here, you know, and we can have an awesome, deep conversation, all things hip-hop, different artists, how they influence us and things. But I could very much do the same with, like, you know, whether it be rock music, alternative rock, death metal. Like, these are people that I still admire and inspire me in different ways that, you know, the people who know me and the people who understand the type of music I make, I can pull it all together in a way that's not, you know what I mean? Like,
I listen to some death metal. I never listened to that.
yeah, I'm a huge Slipknot fan. Like, that's my word. Like, my word. I'm gonna be the first. I'm gonna have Corey Taylor on the track. Like, that's my word. Like, I'm a big Slipknot fan.
Well, you know,
love like.
There's always been groups like Blink-182 that kind of married like the hip hop rock vibe to in certain part of their tracks that allows you to grow.
Shout
like
out to Mark Hoppus. He's there. He's battling cancer right now.
Oh I just said
yeah. Shout out Mark Hoppus, man.
Yeah, so another thing that I also want to point out is just like. Also, guys like Tyler, the Creator, allow you to be weird in hip hop, but still be cool. Like everybody mess with. I try not to curse as much. Everybody rock with Tyler, the Creator, but then he'll freestyle butt sex, rough butt, like on flex and crazy shit. Some real poor shit, right? Some real poor.
No, but a lot of us had niggas in the hood too, growing up where like they had a type of humor that that's the guy you let get away with it. That's the guy you like. You know what I mean? Like,
but the reason why I appreciate that kind of stuff because it allows people to show different variations of hip hop, different personalities, and we needed that expansion, right? Because a lot of hip hop was associated to negativity. Like he's a big Lil Durk fan, and I like Lil Durk as an artist, but I just feel like the negativity that's circling him. You know how he just lost his brother and King Von and all that going back and forth, and then what's the dude King Von who was beefing with? I can't think of his name.
FBG Duck?
No. The
Rondo
and stuff like that. Like these artists are good, but all of that negativity, all of that negativity is taken away.
Now he from the Atlanta. This is Rondo.
All that negativity. All that negativity takes away from the music, and I understand there's that struggle to be street authentic and things of that nature, but it's also sort of like, it doesn't allow us to grow. And it hurts you. It hurts you like, when you have that negativity and that stigma to you, certain places don't want to book you no more.
Facts. It hurts your longevity too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, and it's sort of like, like you took the penitentiary chances, and then you started to do the music to step away from it, and then like you can't let that mindset go.
Yeah, but you know what it is though.
But
I think
not necessarily. Not to cut you off though. Remember that shit I sent you that my son posted, like that negativity. That's how dudes be getting signed to labels.
Yeah.
But that's the thing too, and that's funny because I was gonna kind of lead into my point where like. It's different because I feel like you have certain artists that, let's say you look at artists back in the day that were kind of ripping and running and wilding and doing their thing. they were kind of had the chance to at least grow and elevate their way through the industry to where they kind of became like a big bro or an OG. But I feel like now with the internet, you know, a kid who's living this lifestyle, you know, and I understand there's a lot of chaos and death behind it, but, you know, I realize a lot of these guys stand on their politics and they stand on the lifestyle. But I think that they're not even given a chance to grow, because with the internet, these things happen so quick. You could drop a song, you blow up overnight, and it's not like the politics go away overnight, you know? Yeah. So the politics on top of the speed of which you've done rose through the music world, and these labels are trying to rush to sign you, and you got all this stuff going on. It's like you didn't even have the space to like grow, become an artist, enjoy the fruits, and then sit back and be like, yo, I really need to like slow down. It's like they don't even have a chance to reflect.
You could opine on this as well and stuff like that. Like for instance, another beef that's just crazy. Like I watched a video and how many people died over the last 5 years between Fredo Bang and NBA Youngboy in Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? Like amongst their camp, them two beefing and stuff like that. It's like 12 people have died in the last 3 years, 4 years amongst their camps, and it's crazy. Like NBA Youngboy's not even 24. He's like facing like RICO charges and craziness, Fed cases, and it's just like, yo,
trash as a rapper.
He's not trash.
He's
not trash.
He's trash.
He's not trash.
He's not trash.
No, he's not.
As old heads,
he's not trash.
You know, I this is me being dead honest. I've probably heard 2 NBA Youngboy.
No,
there's a reason for that.
No.
And it's like no knock on homie.
He's
It's just,
not
it don't,
trash.
It don't resonate. It don't pull me in.
He got a lot of pain in his music, and listen. His music is not the greatest, but his fan base, he makes $1 million off of YouTube, of his music.
Which is crazy, yeah.
$1 million off of YouTube.
Multi-million.
You know, what I'm saying is, you got things is everything's melodic now with this generation. So it's nothing's about substance. No,
He's
they're not.
running around.
You got to think about it.
He's mistreating women. He got Floyd Mayweather's daughter, crazy as hell, giving chicks herpes. What do you mean?
But listen. Everybody, all the rappers now that's born in the 90s and 2000, whatever too. But you gotta look at the family structure. A lot of them a lot of people tend to the streets because when you don't have 2-parent homes, that you gonna go to what you know what your friends are doing.
I feel you.
So a lot of if you carrying a gun,
Cliff is such the counselor right now.
no, I'm not.
Think of the time.
What I'm trying to say is that a lot of time you're gonna gravitate what your friends are doing, whatever too.
Yeah.
If you go through the rappers and you ask me, what was your childhood like? What you call? They'll straight up tell you, I just had my moms and I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah.
A lot of times
like
it's the same. It's the same story. What you call? Musically, his music is good though. If you really listen,
trust me. I used to
make me say
I'm with him.
But that's not like Young Thug. I think Young Thug is them there.
I completely was a hip hop purist when it came to lyrics, and I was just not feeling none of this stuff like that. And then you just like, yo, you gotta also kind of give it a chance and start listening to it. And you just like, yo, if you listen to my gym playlist or whatever, do I got NBA Youngboy in it? No, I don't. I'm not gonna be honest with you. But when you listen to certain music and you expand, it's just like, you know, you realize with the times, like, he's solid. The track with him and Migos, you know, I need it. My gun is undefeated. That shit is hard.
Yeah. He got a lot.
You know what I'm saying?
His mixtapes. The problem is his mixtapes. They're really good.
Yeah,
they're really good. It just is what you like. You know, if you're born in an era where you don't want to hear some of the stuff that's going on right now, like to be a weirdo right now, that's in. So but a lot of them will do some craziness or whatever. Too.
Like Young Thug, I'm not a huge Young Thug person, but I see that he has the talent, and I see how he brings people together. Young Thug's a young mogul.
I grew to be a huge Young Thug fan. And I'll be honest.
And
he
was doing all that dressing crazy shit like that.
And that's the thing.
Let me ask you, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. This new trend where a lot of these hip hop artists are painting their fingernails. Like legitimate artists, you know, not like attention grabbing thing. It's like a big thing. Like what is that? Like
Who's
what is
the latest one?
So
Kid Cudi, right?
it was Kid Cudi recently.
Kid
I know
Cudi, Tyler
Lil
the
Yachty,
Creator,
Tyler. But you know what though?
Little Pump, all of them
it's
doing
interesting because it's weird. I have such a different view on it because like sometimes I'm pretty hyper militant in the way I view things, and when I look at like. You know, and I understand sometimes when we have this conversation about emasculation of black males and things like that, I think that sometimes the conversation makes sense because we see how often a lot of labels have treated black men in hip-hop. But again, me being someone who grew up at a certain era loving hip-hop but also loving rock and metal, like, Like he'll tell you, like there's a period of my life where I was gothic. You know what I mean? Like it's still in ciphers destroying niggas. You know what I mean? But like gothic had I'm talking about black painted nails, the whole nine. And I kind of
is that an acronym?
I'm sorry.
Is that an acronym you got that from? Still in cipher, destroy niggas?
Oh no.
I
thought it was too. So no, you're not wrong.
No, that's good though. And but at some point, like just with other things in my life, I kind of grew out of that visual style, but I still like love the music. I still love the era. So so to me, it's one of those things where I'm just like, yo, I had a phase where based on the type of like, because it's one of those things where my only thing that I find interesting is that as a young kid, you get inspired by the people you admire. So if I'm, in high school, 13, 14, 15 years old, and I'm seeing like rock dudes that I really admire and respect, and I love their music and they dress in a certain way, and you emulate that sometimes as a kid. Fine. In this current era, I'm not seeing where the emulation's coming from that the rappers are deciding that they want to do this.
I mean,
so
the painted nails, I get it. Like you said, rock stars used to have it, but now they're getting like manicures and bedazzled.
But you gotta think about it is right. We're in a time where the more extreme you are, the better it's gonna build for your brand. So you got to do something that's outside the box.
But I feel like they always devolve to gender stuff.
Like think about it in the rap in the 80s and 90s. Like now it's glorified. You got to be on lean and all this and stuff to make crazy music and like. Being on lean and all that stuff, like to talk about it publicly, they was doing that in the South, but like New York, on people, guys is on lean. That ain't a New York thing, but a lot of young cats are on lean and all this stuff. What you call it?
The drugs,
But what I'm saying is,
as time passed, there's always been weird drug influences.
But that's the same thing with the nails thing. Like, all it takes is one person that's popular to do it, and everybody's gonna run with it.
Something that was kind of big that we didn't know about is like people were smoking, blunts with weed and crack in it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't something we thought was cool, but like people was doing it. So there's always, weird concept. I don't know. To me, my thing is it's not even about the demasculation of black males and things of that nature. I just don't see like what is the vision or what is the promotional kind of thing.
Yeah, what is
like I feel like hip hop has come to the point where people are so fixated on trying to flex that they run out of things to do and shit like that. Like Little Yachty putting a diamond in the middle of his head like he's a fucking anime.
Wait,
Uzi.
I said Yachty, I meant Uzi.
He's what's his name from the Avengers?
Vision.
Didn't he take it out though? I saw some of that.
It's like a piercing. It's like a piercing.
Gangster like that. But as much as that shit is worth, if I was in his presence, I would try to grab that shit. I would try to get that shit out of his head. Hey, you a little nigga, get out of here.
All right, so we're gonna get into the regular format of the show where we talk about different topics. And the first topic we're gonna talk about relationships. Is it a commitment or a contract, right? Because I feel like the nature of relationships are changing so much because of like how little people are just like really feeling like the benefits of being in a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. Like I grew up, I'm a married male.
You said little people?
Not little people.
Man. Oh no! Wait, what did you say?
You just said little people though.
Did he?
I said little people.
I swear you said little people. I'm benefiting from it.
All right, so if I did say little people, I don't have to take them to roll back. No. You see, you taking a sidebar. We had this conversation, like if we're gonna detour like fetish wise, like I had a little people fetish. You know what I'm saying? I had a fetish where it's just like I wanted a bad midget.
Like a bad midget?
A bad midget. A little person, right? Because midget's in proper term. To stay in my closet and only cut on some Willy Wonka shit. Only come out when I told it. Anyway, that's another story. If I did say little people, I didn't mean to say. I meant to say just like in the closet. A lot of people are not finding the benefits of being in relationships or being tied down, things and it's like. Especially when people like they have their children, the relationships don't work, and it's like, what is my motivation to be back in a relationship? I mean, sometimes you hear things like, for instance, Dr. J, I'm tongue messing up. Dr. Dre recently, now he has to pay, I think for the next 20 years or some crazy time.
It's like 3.5 a year or something.
Madness.
$4 million altogether for the year.
A year, right?
$4 million. Come out to 4 year million.
So his
$300,000 a month.
spouse, and this wasn't the spouse that he was with, like, you know, when he was broke and kind of like he already had money kind of situation.
Yeah, she was in the
You know what I'm saying? And anyway, she got an NBA contract right now for the next couple of years. I say that to say
She was with him 22 years.
yeah. I say that.
What that mean?
No, but the thing about it is he had a prenup signed, so I don't understand how to
What
finagle.
is the prenup if that's
It
happening?
usually
Yeah.
depends on the state too. Like certain states,
In
man. Like,
California,
care.
it's
Yeah,
a
they
little
don't.
different.
Very,
California's different.
Yeah.
But let's keep it a buck because I saw a meme where the dude said, you know, he mentioned that Dr. Dre has to pay $300,000 a month. I don't want to get married. And, you know, Black Twitter always get. Someone said, Chief, slow down. It'll be $30 a month for you. You know what I'm saying? So let's not all act like we all gonna have to break out that kind of bread.
Doesn't matter. That's my $30.
You know what I'm saying? You don't
deserve it.
It does still have to do with your financial bracket. So even if you don't have Dre money,
Yeah.
a lot of the money you do make is still gonna have, you know what I mean? So whatever your lifestyle is,
$30,
it's
$40,
Yeah.
$5 is a lot of
Right.
money.
and let's be
If you
real,
don't deserve
$30
it,
a month, like for the sake of the meme, it's funny, but let's
Yeah,
be real, it's gonna
yeah.
be more than $30.
Yeah. So relationships, commitments, or contracts. So the first question is, social media influencer. There was a influencer. Her name was Blue Jasmine, and she was talking about how she messed with a rich dude, and then they broke up. It didn't work out. Nobody cheated and stuff like that. But he had put her in a loft and got her a Benz, and then she was just like, even though they broke up, he couldn't take that stuff back. He had to keep her in that lifestyle until she found somebody next. And then the update was that he was still paying her stuff, and she has a new dude, and new dude's living in the loft.
Nah, he's
that
simp.
other dude paying,
straight up
and,
simp.
stuff.
Simp, that's
And
a
she's
simp.
like, if
Super
he would have
simp.
tried, if he would have tried to take it back, she would destroy that stuff. And to be honest with you, no disrespect, she's not even amazing looking. Like, to be honest with you, she's regular Washington Heights, you know what I'm saying, Dominican looking girl, like, you know, nothing that blows your socks away kind of thing. She's a good looking girl, but she's nothing like,
Yeah.
I'm going to sponsor you just to make sure you
She's
still
no
live a good
Amira
lifestyle.
Dime, right?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Huh?
that.
She's no Amira
Oh, no,
Dime.
definitely.
No, she's not.
But so I say that to say she went viral saying that if a man broke her, got to maintain that lifestyle, you know, take care of bills and stuff like that. Like when you have women with that kind of mindset and that understanding, like, you know, what do you really feel like you looking for in your relationship when you know there's women out there like that? Like, you know, what do you feel the benefits of being in a relationship right now, especially if you're not in a situation where you're trying to get married right now or even trying to have kids? So, like, you know, people are just like, then why am I in a relationship? So I just want to get the opinion. I wish I had, you know, women on the panel as well to opine. But, like, what do you think? Like, what do you feel like you even want to get out of a relationship right now?
I got some, but I'm gonna let you get yours off.
For her and what the hell she said, I would blowtorch the crib, the house. No.
My 50 cents down.
You're wilding. Yeah, you're
Nobody's
wilding.
happy.
Thinking I was supposed to support you after we broke up. That's dumb. And you're a sip if you do. And especially if another dude's in the house, you're a super simp.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're a
And they don't
super
have kids
simp.
together. That's the crazy
Yeah.
thing about it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, I can see it like, you know, you have kids with her, you like, you know what, I'm going to take this L because I want my son or daughter in a comfortable space.
Yeah, that makes
no
sense.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know they do this. Like, I understand this whole like it ain't tricking if you got it thing. I think that's absurd because my thing is at the end of the day, just from a financial standpoint, it doesn't make sense. And it kind of, I will say it works both ways. Like, shorty, she's out of control with her mindset. But as far as the dude is concerned, if this is someone that you haven't had a serious long-term relationship with, nor have you made her your wife or you plan on making her your wife, why are you buying her a crib and cars and all this stuff? Like, that's wife stuff.
He's
you know what I mean?
damaged.
Well,
So
no,
I just
I
feel
gotta
like-
be.
Because it's different
Gotta
if you're looking out for
counter-argue
her.
that
She's in an apartment.
They
You may be
come
paying
to
for
an
that.
agreement initially, especially a lot of times when you got these younger chicks dealing with these older dudes, right? They let it be known. Listen, what is it you need? I'm gonna provide what you need, and you gonna provide me with this.
But by that
as-
logic,
more
if they
than, more than it
separate-
just being a relationship, it's a business agreement.
It's a contract. But
You know what I'm saying?
So
it's
by
not
that
really
logic,
a
then, if she
relationship.
stopped
his
giving him his
obligation
part
in
of
the contract ended.
Yeah.
It ended,
So
yeah.
I don't understand why she
Yeah.
thinks she got this
Yeah.
extended T-Mobile
No,
plan.
it's the other way around.
Definitely.
Her
Yeah.
obligation ended because she's obligated to whatever, and he look out for her. So if she's not doing that no more, and there's another dude in the house, what the hell am I still paying for all this
Yeah.
for?
No, I agree with that part.
You know,
of it.
like
a
that's
no-go.
what's crazy to me.
What do you think?
I mean,
Honestly,
Unless
I know
you're
you
one of
wouldn't
those
do
dudes-
it, but like just the fact that there's women out here who thinking that this is something.
but the fact that she continue and think that he's supposed to support her lifestyle after it's over, she's a fucking lunatic. Like
unless you're one of those dudes that get off on that.
No,
like,
not even that. Like the fact, like if it's over, but if that's what they came into agreement with when they first started dating, then that's what he was. Okay, yeah, we could do that, whatever too. Then
because you got some dudes who be promising, yeah, I'm gonna take care of you regardless.
No,
we could be together or not.
That's a fact, but that's a fact.
They be telling them stuff like that.
If I buy you a car and a house, whatever, too, and it's over, you gotta figure a way to now financially support yourself and keep the maintenance on that. Because I already supplied what's going on in that environment. I don't need to keep up. I don't need. Why would I keep up the payments?
Yeah, for real.
The best I could do for you is to the end of the year. No matter what happened, if we break up in February or we broke up in November, the best I could do for you is at the end of the year. Once that year change, you gotta figure that shit out.
February, that's a long time for that somebody else in the crib too.
That's the simp. That's the simp vibe in me. I'll give you to the end of the year.
Listen, if my money is a little up and whatever too, and we broke up where it was like, you know, it was okay, wasn't crazy, nothing. Just didn't work out. I'll give her a 6-month period. I give her a 6-month period.
End of the year.
After 6 months, life goes on.
6 months
every month.
After 6 months for the streets.
Every month something's going in the crib.
And you gotta like
1 month doors just going, furniture's going,
taking off all the doorknobs.
I think you just gotta rip the Band-Aid off because what's gonna happen is like at the end of that 6 months, now you gotta press her, and I didn't find nothing yet, and you gotta be understanding because y'all have a connection, and that's why I feel like just rip the Band-Aid off and be like, look, this is.
But
ending,
then you got you know what it is. A lot of guys now, like before. It's like you don't even have to have a conversation to be in a relationship with them. You could everything's a contract now because social media made it like that. James Harden give you $100,000. This person gives 50. So chicks are being unrealistic. Chicks are going to DR. Whatever too, not just chick, whatever. I'm not trying to just be sexist. They spending $5-10 grand and they come back with a whole new lifestyle and now they want to have supply.
Whole new body.
Yes, supply. No, whole new lifestyle. Because this is what they do. You go pay $5,000-$10,000 and then you come back looking for $1 million man.
Yeah, but it's the new body that make you think you have a new lifestyle.
But what I'm saying is this: the chicks are doing this left and right now because they're like, listen. The days are just, I'm giving him sex and whatever, so he keep paying a little bit. But no, I want him to supply me for a good 10, 15 years. And then they got the sugar daddies. They get the 50, 60-year-old men that will do it. Yeah. So she's saying that you don't know how this guy looks.
The sugar daddies ruined the game.
Yo, this guy, listen.
He can't be that much of a sugar daddy because she's complaining
it's not paying for no more. I was on vacation in Jamaica with my wife. I'm talking to a guy in the pool, whatever, too. Nice older man, white guy, whatever, too. He's like, yeah, he was talking to me, whatever, too. It was crazy because our connection was like he was just telling me about stuff and we connected through stuff, right? So I'm like, yeah, he's like, yeah, my lady's over there. Bad joint, not even paying him attention. She probably on the sugar daddy plan. I'm talking about super bad. So he's like, she looks good, right? She asked me that. I said, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, so. Everybody's messing it up for.
No, I get that, right? But it skews, the whole perspective of like the masses, right? Because it's just like, don't get it twisted. There's a lot of the times like these sugar babies, women getting taken care of, stuff like that. It's a understanding, right? A lot of these times the women don't promote it, but a lot of times these dudes be married. You know what I'm saying? They're not leaving their wife. They already established something like that, but they got play money to do something on the side. Yeah. You part of their side, play money and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But then it leads to some women thinking that, you know what? If this girl gets that, then I expect my man, who's going to be my primary man, who's a regular dude, to kind of give me that same kind of energy. It's a handful of dudes who have that kind of play money. But it filters or it kind of bleeds into regular society, regular relationships, where it bleeds over that some women are just like, yo, like, I seen a meme where a woman's just like, yo, if he's not paying all my bills and I still have to work, then why am I in a relationship? And I'm just like, and no, not to be like, listen, I'm not fucking Denzel Washington, but it be some normal looking girls who think that this is a situation. It's an exchange, right? Like these high net worth, like I don't want to be like Kevin Samuels, like the dude who shit, but these high net worth men. Like, they're not doing this sponsorship for the regular girl working regular normal girl walking the street. They
a dime plus.
just like he's the 1% of the world, he's looking for the 1% to do that for.
And it's not even nowadays. It's not even just about how good you look. It's about how well you take direction, how well you play your role. You know what I'm saying?
Where you at?
Yeah, and I know a
So,
lot of.
and then
that's
a lot
what's
of
really
time, a lot of times,
key.
especially when you put yourself in that position, is you're not gonna pay or have play money for. And what you got at home, and she's giving you 32 problems. That side one don't give you no the problems. She's doing everything that's right.
And
She's not gonna do the day-to-day activities that say that you're in a relationship. You're paying for your sanity with her, which is sex, comfortability, confidence, whatever you lacking at home. So a lot of times social media right now, it makes it seem like it's okay. You can't even go to social media anymore and see. You can't go through 10 times and see 10 girls with their clothes on. Because everybody's promoting. Listen, I'm showing you this because I want the lifestyle. Why else are you showing me this?
You know what
So
though?
that's the scary part of. I'm sorry to cut you off. The scary part of this is like you can't even have a regular relationship anymore and just talk to a girl and see where her head is at because you don't know what direction she's trying to take you.
Yeah, that's what leads to the confusion. Like, what are we getting out of relationships anymore, right? Because there's a time in your life where you want to build, you want to have a family, and you want someone to maybe have kids with or necessarily. But I just feel like the expectations a lot of times with relationships and like what we bring to the table kind of make you feel like it's more of a contract that you about to get into more than anything.
Well, marriage is technically a contract.
Yeah.
You do technically sign a contract with marriage, but I mean, when it comes to relationships, nowadays relationships, I would say do you. Nowadays, the females they're on a different time, men are on a different time. It's like
so. I explain what you mean by do you because we're two married men. The game, listen, the game is different now. I got a lot of boys, whatever, and then they're telling me they're going on dates, and I got friends that they up. You know what I mean? Their money's up, and they like, yo, I can't do this. I'm just like, yo, some of the chicks I'm going on dates with, they are not realistic. So I don't even know like.
It's even harder when your pockets is deep.
That's the problem.
You like, yo, you don't need to do much. Once she realize you got the bread, man, these chicks.
But that leads you to extortion. That's what's tough.
Extortion.
You gotta think about it. When your money's up, these dudes pay the girls to leave. They're not paying the girls to stay. They're trying to make sure they have that clean break. Like, for instance, the
but
video
you
said...
don't even have to pay them. You still got to have a little bit of game with it. You showing it to them. You know what I'm saying? But you're not giving it to them.
But elaborate what you were saying. Elaborate what you were saying about...
When you got bread,
you can show it to them and not give it to them because they got an end goal. These chicks is not dumb. I know they may seem like little birds and da-da-da, but they're not dumb. The dumb ones is the ones who gonna get mad because you ain't... just buy her a Louis bag and da-da-da. She's like, I want... Those are dumb ones. The other ones, they want to do all this extra stuff because they're looking at the end game.
The ones trying to get houses and cars and stuff.
So what about... Elaborate what you were saying about the whole relationship thing and...
basically what I was saying with social media. I think social media ruined relationships at this point right now because it is an unrealistic aspect of what these females are looking for. They consistently see these quotes online and they want to live by these stupid ass quotes. Of somebody that
somebody's loving
the females that make these quotes. Most of them don't even want a relationship. Most of them don't even want to deal with a regular 9-to-5 man. So why are you listening to these people? And I think that's the problem with a lot of these women today. They're listening to the wrong people when they should just be living their own life. Yeah. They're basically living their life through social media. They have to stop that. Yeah. They have to just go outside and, you know what I mean?
It's tough because nobody's driving in their lane. Everyone's looking to the left and to the right and seeing what other people are doing and be like, yo, I deserve that same thing. Or I want that same thing. But you're not necessarily bringing that same thing to the table.
The problem is you can't even value, as a man, you can't even value a regular woman anymore because it seemed like, it seemed like with social media, you want this, you want that, whatever, too, boom. Like, it's so easy. You don't even have to talk to nobody no more. You can put up 1,000 pictures and pretend that this is your life, and now everything's coming to you. Before, you used to have to be able to call a girl, talk on the phone. You had to build a roster. You don't got to do that anymore. You know, whatever, too. So now it's so quick to be like, you can't appreciate the day-to-day person now. And that's the scary part. And that's the reason why birds like her are saying the things she is, because she knows she's capable of saying this, and then this side might say, "Man, fuck out of here." The other side's like, "Yo, I like her."
I think also some of it is like, if you think it or if you wish it, they will come type shit. Like, you put it out in the universe that, like, yo, I'm a bad chick, I deserve this, that, and the other, and someone's gonna fall for that bait. For instance, like the video, like you shared, this dude been hollering at a girl for a little while. He finally, she finally decides to link. They go out to this nice little steak spot, Salt Bay spot. He spent $600, and then at the end of the date, she got an Uber to take her somewhere else, right? And
They
like
arguing outside the restaurant.
Yeah, and he's just like, yo, you just ran up a bill, $600, and he's like, I'm not saying we gotta sleep together and stuff like that, but we're not gonna chill. She's like, yeah, but look at me.
Oh yeah.
Normal looking girl.
Regular.
Normal looking girl.
The problem is, she getting 1,000 likes. She this and that. Like I said,
she was cute, but normal looking girl.
If I spend $600 with you, which that's a lot of damn. That's a car note and car insurance, right? Yeah. So at least entertain me to have a decent conversation, because you got respect for yourself. Chicks are just saying, all right, you took me, now I'm going to take the Uber.
Hold on. I got a problem with that situation on both ends. She was wrong.
But he fraud. He frauded.
But let me tell you where he messed up. You kept hounding the chick to go out with you. You don't want a chick to go out with you just because you wore her down.
Yeah.
You want a chick to go out with you because she might be interested in you.
You
knew she wasn't interested in you, and you still spent $600 on her?
That first date needs to be normal. Listen, that first date needs to be normal as hell, bro. Because you got to see where this woman's head at and things of that nature. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying you got to be cheap, get a 2 francs by the vendor and shit like that, walk the park type. Dave Chappelle on Half Baked, where he had like $5 trying to make the day happen and shit. I'm not saying do that. No, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that, but at the same time, like,
let's go to Chili's.
Those days is over, my dude. Those days is over.
Let me finish this one.
The caliber you looking for, they ain't going to Chili.
Let me finish this one. You can get back on that.
It's all about the drinks, baby.
Hold on. Let me finish this thought. What I'm trying to say is, right, because if you cap in certain ways and you do that thing where it's just like you take it to Salt Bay and spend $600, things of that nature, you establish something that if you can't keep that up, you shot yourself in the foot.
Exactly.
And you know what's
Don't
interesting?
start
It's
at
like
the highest. We start low, and then we work our way up.
And that's the thing.
I've only took one woman out. I've only took one woman out
there that's not going to be crazy for your pocket. Where you can
I took my wife out
Picnic.
one time.
That's creative.
I took my wife out one time, and the bill for the night was like $500. But this was my wife, and this was just like
married.
We was already married.
Okay.
And we went to several spots, Mr. Child's and some other spot, and we saw celebrities and shit like that, and it felt good and things of that nature. But at the same time, it's sort of like, it was an appreciation at the time we were celebrating. I think it was a Valentine's Day, but we was, it was an appreciation kind of thing. But at the same token, it was just like, I already knew what I'm invested in this person with already. It's not about the cheapness. It's just like, if you spend that kind of money on a girl, $600 on a date that you don't even know if she likes you like that. Like, she already had the Uber ordered while y'all was eating appetizers, B.
That was his fault.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen, regardless of what, that was his fault, whatever. That bitch ain't got no class, okay? Listen, seriously, at the end of the day, he played himself because he came off like, I got it, whatever, too. But, like, she should at least give that man a conversation or something that said,
at the table.
No,
eating.
No, she gave him.
While Uber said your ride's outside waiting.
She's like, no, I'm just gonna take an Uber back. If you came in a car with me and you go back on the Uber.
But I at least deserve to drop you off somewhere, B. You know what I'm saying?
Even if I got dropped off to the next nigga crib,
That's she'd rather pay for the Uber than sit in the car with you.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But you know what, though? I honestly, truly think that. So when you think about how modernized things have become and how expensive shit is and all of that, as humans, male and female, like inherently, there's certain things we want to do, and like for men, we do not in any way look to women to any of the shit they look to us for. We're not looking to women for shelter. We're not looking for them to take care of us.
Now, some niggas is fucking for their lives.
No, don't get me wrong.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta keep it a buck. I don't mean to disagree with you, but I gotta let you know some niggas.
But when you think about the modernized world we live in, you got some dudes who's trying to live that way because shit is hard. But then on a just straight up, like actual genetic level, like when you think back to the hunter-gatherer era, like when you're going out hunting, gathering the food, doing your thing as a man, and then the woman looks and sees like, okay, this guy's a protector.
A real dude don't care if his chick work at McDonald's.
Yeah,
he just care that
I just need a chick with ambition.
But that's the thing, though. But that's the thing.
Game
Like
posted it. Everybody and everything is loved unconditionally except for a man.
Yeah,
Women are loved unconditionally.
Children are loved.
Children are loved. A man has to bring something to the table.
Because that's the thing. As a man, you can
bringing
fall
that
in
to
love
the
with a
table,
woman and want to support her, want to
not
protect her, want to provide for her. So, your thought process. You want to have offspring. You want to carry on your bloodline. Like these are all the inherent genetic things that men care about. But the modern version of the hunter-gatherer era is the car, the house, the money. Like and then it's like and again like you said, for men, all we literally want is like with the music thing. Just traveling so much and doing music and doing this and doing that. Imagine coming home on a red eye, when you're tired, but you got to fly out 2 days later, or the next morning. And all you want to see is your woman. You want to come home to that relaxing home you've provided. You want those creature comforts, but she too good to cook. She too good to clean. She got an attitude. But it's like, look, I got this red eye. I'm tired. I want to come home. I want to spend time with you. But, you know what I mean? So when it really truly boils down to it, that's all a man really wants is to feel comfortable in his home, to feel, to feel like his woman's supporting him, looking out for him, and making sure, shit is good. And she multiplies what you bring, so you can provide the home, you provide the food, you provide the whatever. So that's what I mean. Like we're gonna do all these things financially, and everything when all we want is certain things that get frowned upon. I think women have confused. They hate the word submissive. I think they've confused submission with subservience, and they're two completely different things. So.
We just want to be appreciated.
But men
being appreciated these days it's a hard thing for a woman to do it, and it's crazy. Like before, listen, we all older, right? I think from the 80s and up, right? All of us in here. So before you had one parent would work, the mom would stay home, she would take care of the kids, raise the kid with her too. We live in an era now. We need two people to rock out now. Because rent and everything's too expensive.
A 2-bedroom, 2,000 and change. They ain't gonna be on one person.
So what happens is,
that's it.
yeah, I mean,
I'm talking about bare minimums. You know what I'm saying?
But what happens is like we're not being appreciated no more. Like the basic thing, because of social you're supposed to be doing that.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to be fucking me 7 days a week. You're supposed to be sucking my dick 7 days a week. You don't do that. That's not to me now. What I'm saying is, you don't do that. So how you want to tell me I'm supposed to be doing all these great things for you? So it's very complicated.
That's the biggest issue we have in society, in the couple constraints with relationship, with the expectation of what we expect versus what we get. Because of the whole, it gets flipped like, oh, a man's supposed to do this, a man's supposed to do that. A woman's supposed to do this, a woman's supposed to do that. So, for instance, like you saying, if I put shelter over our head, I do stuff like that. You got to be this freak for me and stuff like that. And women be like, nah, I don't got to do all that. Okay, then I don't understand what we in this relationship for. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it go vice versa. Some men want to put their feet up and be like, yo, I need you to cook and clean and shit like that. And my G didn't have a job in 6 months. My G just play video games and stuff like that. Shorty paying for everything, but you still expect her to be serving to you. It don't work that way, right? Yeah. We have to get the gender constraints of what genders is supposed to do out the window and have that communication.
And then
I don't think it's the constraints. I'm sorry. I don't think it's the constraints. I think it's just some of that's like that example you just gave. To me, that's such an on-the-nose example. It makes perfect sense. It's like that dude is a clown, straight up and down. So I don't think it's a conversation of
it's facts.
I don't think it's a conversation about the gender norms. I think it's a conversation of that dude just sucks. Yeah. It's kind of like, so she may be watching. There's someone I'm dating where we had this conversation where I expressed to her like, I like doting on my woman. I like taking care of her, doing X, Y, and Z. And I'm the type of dude where I love, my love language, I love home cooked meals. I love just chilling in the house sometimes if we're not out on a date and doing things. And she expressed to me like, yo, I like you enough that I'll do those things for you, but I'm not officially your girlfriend, so I'm not going to be playing house. And I said, okay, well, if that's the case, I'm not your boyfriend. I'm not going to consistently keep paying for every date. I'm not going to consistently keep Ubering you everywhere. I'm not going to, because I'm not your boyfriend, so why should I do it consistently?
Yeah.
But
That's facts. You put it back to the table. That's tennis. Sir, love.
But
Sir.
she's so, like, she and I have such deep conversations. She's so introspective and such an actual, like, well-rooted woman that she was like, shit, you're right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But we've been able to have that dialogue and kind of just go back and forth of the things that she'll do for me and vice versa, and the things that she appreciates and vice versa.
To be honest with you,
so
that
that's
was-
what I think it is.
that
Just the
was one of the-
Had a
conversation.
woman take you out, or y'all go out and she say, "No, I'm gonna take care of this one," then you doing something wrong.
I've
Because
had
they
that
go
happen,
out
but
of
you
the
That was one of the turning points in my relationship with my wife that I kind of, right? Because, I got married early. I got married in my mid-20s. So, but when I was dating my wife, I've been dating so much that I was just like, dating was expensive to the point where I had to have a dating budget as part of my budget, right? Because
I know what
no,
you
because
mean,
you paying for dates, you drinks and stuff like that, eating stuff like that, and then while you're dating, a lot of women don't even look at their purse, don't even fake flex. Let me put the tip and stuff, especially when I was dating. Let me finish. So I'm paying for dates and things of that nature, and it's just costing me a lot of money. God bless, I didn't have no children. I'm still young in my career. I don't have this big mortgage, and I was still at home, giving my people's money for rent. So I said that, and then it was like our second and third date, and my wife was just like, "Yo, I don't expect you to always pay. Let me pay for this, that, and the other." And I was just like, "Oh, okay."
That shit turns me on.
It shocked me because all of the women that I was dating never even hit me with that, right? Before that, you know what I'm saying? That was the first time I was just like, "Oh, okay, she get it." And at the same time, it's just like, we're both working people and stuff like that. We both understand things cost, but a lot of times women were just like not even thinking about it. And it's just like, certain women I was going on dates with, you hit date 5, 6, 7, and they don't even think of pump
But
faking
see, that's a
to
clear
try to
way of
offer that.
saying, "I like you. I'm not just using
I'm
you
sure
for
I was
bills."
free food.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure I was saved as free food in a couple woman phone back in the early 2000s. I promise you that. I promise you I was free food or the fat dude who liked to go to this place type thing. I was probably one of those two in women's phone. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, a lot of the times and I like how you explain the relationship, is the lack of communication. We don't communicate properly in our relationship, whatever, too, because a lot of times if you came out and laid the foundation out early, you could see what you want. But a lot of times we figure out, like, hold on, this chick ain't for me. This dude ain't for me. Like, it become too late, and now it's in too deep. Now you don't know what's going on. A lot of times people be scared to communicate too early, whatever, too, boom. So you could stay away from what you don't want if you communicate early and say, you know what? Nah, she's giving me the signs that this ain't it for me, whatever, too. But that take growth, right? You learn through your experience. So a lot of
those flags, you gotta look for them
so
flags.
I tell my wife, and me and my wife go to brunch. We go to high end shit every week. But I always tell her, I say, you got your cards with you? Because you never know when I'm going to turn and act different. Always bring your cards. I believe you. I will talk. And she started busting out laughing. I said, always bring your cards.
Just in case.
Just in case. I'm like, this is over today. I'm not doing this thing. That one say, you never know. Always bring your cards with you. Because you never know. I could be a nice guy last week and pay for $175. This week I'll be like, yo, I'm not on it. No, seriously. That's what I'm trying to say.
Let's explore that further and go to the next question, right? Because a lot of times when you're dating, you have a certain vibe, right? And we've been doing this podcast for 4 years, and every time we talk about relationships, this kind of mentality, it kind of resurfaces, or this understanding, right? Men date women, we find things appealing about them, and then we be like, man, shorty's this, she check all these checklists. I hope she never changed. This is the woman I want to be with. Women will date you in a situation where they're not really feeling everything they got going on, but in their head, they're going to change you. They're going to change something. They're going to upgrade you somehow, and then they're going to make you better kind of thing. And that's what kind of messes up a lot of relationships, because I feel like men take women as they are and be like, yo, I accept what you got going on. Yeah. I could deal with it. I rock with it. And women be like, you're not everything that I need. But if I put a little this and that, I could change you. And then sometimes you may not be able to meet this and that, right?
Or you might not even want to.
Exactly, like, because you might be like, yo, I'm good in my shoes. I like the way that my swag is. And he sent me a video with Eric Mina and
Safari.
Safari, right? And so and
That
then you know,
relationship is a clown show.
yeah, but Safari kind of came to the point
kids
where it's just like, yo,
serious.
our vibe was great before we got married, and then after we got married, it's just like, you know, what we were doing wasn't enough, and now it's just sort of like, and I get it, relationships are supposed to grow, but who we are, who we show each other, those kind of things we should just get stronger in. It shouldn't have to change. And he was just kind of just like, yo, like, shit just got too crazy and serious. Like, you're not laughing and joking with me no more. We're not doing certain things, and we get it. We married now, but we still have to enjoy the people we were.
Date you still have to date your
Right?
person you
And,
married.
and to be honest with you, that's why a lot of times, and I'm not making excuses for them, a lot of times married men cheat because the woman that you were dating and you courting is not the woman you get after you married. You get this whole new woman, and you just like, yo, I'm not asking you for shit that you never did. I'm asking you for the shit that I fell in love with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then people change, and
But
it's
we
sort of
gotta
like,
do it on our side too. You always gotta keep up the same energy.
But
by
that's
both
why. But
sides.
even if that's the case, you see instances where the dude will change in that sense, but a lot of women will still stick around because of the money. You
Yeah,
know,
that's true.
Well, ask
so
the
sometimes
question.
it's still like
so
that.
the question is, marriage make things too serious? Does marriage make relationships too serious and change how fun the relationship can be? Like, for instance, I could say after getting married, you know, once a woman feels like she's comfortable, she got the ring, she's established, then the shit that she used to kind of like would do just to make you happy, sometimes them shits get put in the back burner and like, yo, I'm already married.
Yeah.
I'm not auditioning anymore, so why I got to do the shit that I don't like?
Yeah.
But that's the shit I fell in love with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I mean, a lot of things change, you know, in terms of, and even my wife is watching, like, if at first you might wear lingerie, now you wearing moo-moos, and then we trying to fuck. I'm not into the whole moo-moo shit. You got it on a plan, you use your schedule, and when we had sex and all that too. I'm an old
Before it was
school,
on site,
I'm an
right?
old school Haitian man. Caribbean man, we like to get it in. No, not saying nobody else do, but I'm saying like all this schedule planning and all this, what you call it before. Before you used to drive 230 miles to get it. Now it's like you got a moo, you're doing all these things. Like the relationship, the dynamics change. But me, I keep the same energy, so I expect the same. Marriage does change a lot of things because now it's like you're gonna take it however I give it to you.
But
Women do not
Yeah.
understand how hard it is.
You're gonna take it
for
however
a
I'm gonna give it to you.
man, and I know I'm speaking for my brothers, not just for me. How hard it is for a man to fuck the same box.
Oh, I didn't say all that.
See, that's
No,
Listen, no. Well, because I'm just saying, you ain't gonna even dress it up for me.
Yeah, that.
Come on now.
Yeah.
No, you
I
keep
gotta
it in a
fuck
buck.
the
You keep
same box
monogamy
all the time. You can at least
listen,
dress it up.
I always say this,
That's a
and then
fact.
sometimes women, you know, I say this with my, you know, my women friends, and they always kind of like get upset at me, curse me out. Like, yo, monogamy is not a practice that's natural to men.
yeah.
Even in nature, as basic as animals
Think of the
are,
animals.
aren't monogamous.
Animals will
A
tell you.
lion will come through, smash, do such and stuff like that, and then he'll have another pride to smash. And I'm not saying that because animals do it that we like. It's not a monogamous thing. Like, oh, don't get it twisted. Women like different penis, like men like different vaginas, stuff like that. But it's not natural. So I say that to say this to sort of like, at least when we make that commitment, we have to speak to each other and be like, yo, how do we keep it fun and exciting? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
And the thing about it is, women know. Let's keep it up. Women, it's easier in their nature because of how they're brought up and just how they think that for a woman to be monogamous than for a man to be monogamous, right? Because a woman, like, you speak to 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old girls and they're talking about they can't wait to be a bride and get married and do this and stuff like
Because
that.
women want to naturally be protected and taken care
Yeah,
of.
but
we just
our nature, our fathers, our brothers around us, stuff like that, we're taught to be killers. Like, yo, you got it. When's the next body? You know what I'm saying? Like, when you in high school, and you talking to your fathers, your uncles, stuff like that, and there's like, they always ask you how many girls you got. You tell them one, they're like, what the hell are you doing? You know what I'm saying? It's not naturally, we're not naturally reeled up to that. So I say that to say this: once we're committed to a relationship and things of that nature, we need help from our spouses our partners to be like, yo, let's communicate on this. Let's understand that, you know, it's not natural being monogamous, but we love each other. We made that decision. Let's work on. Let's communicate to be fun. Like, so many men that I know, like you said, it's just sort of like, it becomes to the point where it's just like, women who are married start to act like it's a reward for you to get sex from them.
Is that fair though? I mean, so when you get married, so I've never been married, whatever, but not so. But the way it seems like when you get married and you put that ring on, the men still have to provide, still have to, pay the bills, still have to be the same person they came into that relationship, that marriage. But the women get to change. They get to get lax, and they get to, not do. Is that fair?
It's not fair. And then the problem is sometimes you wanna not hurt the person's feelings, so you don't express what's going on. Put like in terms of being a married man, so putting stuff on the schedule for a man when it comes to being intimate, that ain't gonna turn me on.
That's not fair. No,
That's what you call it.
No. I understand it might not turn you on, but I went to a little seminar before.
No, where
and they talked about,
no.
Y'all put little beads on the side of the bed, and once it gets to a certain number of beads, y'all know it's time to get it in. Because you go through life, say y'all both working or whatever, y'all got busy schedules. You know what I'm saying? So I know we want to get it in whenever, wherever, but you can't always expect her to just be, okay.
No, I'm not.
But y'all was working before they got married.
But you know what's crazy about that though? As men, y'all never been in that situation where you're chilling with a girl, you're having a great weekend, y'all don't have sex a bunch of times, and there's some times where you're like, my legs hurt or my meat is sore, and she's on something, and you kind of like, yo, do I? But because you're a man, you're not allowed to say I don't want to have sex.
This is the conversation we need to have. This is the conversation that we need to have.
It's like
women don't accept being rejected when it comes to sexual advances the way that men are supposed to accept it.
Because now you
Because you say no one time, and now it's like, what are you, gay? Your meat don't work? This, that, and the other. A woman say no like she's breathing, and you're supposed to just eat that.
Yeah.
But as soon as you do it, it's just like, then your meat don't work? What are you, gay? Are you cheating on me? But a woman will tell you no because she just says no.
I'm
You're supposed to accept that.
I'm going to make myself vulnerable right now.
Okay.
But this is some funny shit to me. And whenever my shorty said, I'd be like, yo, you really believe this? So, like, we'll have some long sessions sometimes, right? Where we get it in, whatever. And then we'll have some times where, we haven't got it in a couple of days. So when I see her and we get it in, you know what I mean?
I'm straight. I've been drinking.
She expects me to come, like, quick. To be like, oh, yeah, see, you've been holding that for a while. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to, like, oh, I know you couldn't have been doing nothing else. Yeah. Or it would have been a long session.
It would have been a long session.
Are you crazy?
Or the amount, like, when you pull it, like,
that has nothing to do with it. It's just a matter of
how excited I am. You know what I'm saying? It's a matter of how excited I am, whether to be with you or what have you. Yeah. You don't know. I could have probably got something yesterday. Yeah. And I just was excited to see you today.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
but and that's another thing that sometimes women don't understand is just like consistency helps build, performance and things of that nature. Sometimes men, like especially married men, you get to the point where it's just like it's so sporadic and stuff like that. Like, a lot of times you don't get your rhythm no more. So now it's sort of like, you get in it and you just like, I'm just trying to get that nut and be out and stuff like that. It doesn't allow you to be your best performer when it's just like, you got a random snatch and things of that nature. But let me tell you, women for some reason don't take that, consideration as far as like, you want your man to be your best performer, you have to establish a rhythm, you have to establish some kind of pattern.
Let me break this down to you. Everybody watch basketball here, right? NBA fans, whatever. What does the question say? Does marriage make relationships too serious and change how fun a relationship can be? I compare it to like a dude playing ball.
Okay. Expand.
Making it to the NBA and getting a contract.
Yeah.
With no free agency. Right? So when you playing ball, you young, you in the park, you know what I mean? You commitment, you hungry. You know what I mean? But you got a love of the game.
Yeah.
So it's different, you know what I mean? So let's say you get
once you get that guaranteed contract,
playing college ball, you still hungry, you trying to get to the league, you know what I'm saying? Still no commitments. Yeah. You know what I mean? You just trying to get in. Now you get married. You on a team. You signed a contract. There's no free agency. You stuck with us. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You still love playing ball. You still got the skill. But the game just don't feel the same. You know what I'm saying?
You know what?
The game don't feel the same.
It's like, what now?
It's crazy because I've been with my wife for 15 years and we just celebrated our 7 years marriage anniversary. And trust me.
Yeah.
I think to this day she put
I didn't make it that far.
to this day I think she put Santeria on me. But I'm joking. But what I'm saying is it's a rocky road, but communication is gonna help you out. A lot of times it's, and then sometimes you don't want to hurt your lady's feelings.
Yeah.
Soon as you turn them down,
I'll be keeping it real. Though.
No. So as soon as you turn them down, it's automatic. Like, you love sex. Why you turn me down? Whatever. I'm tired.
And they don't want to hear that.
This thing downstairs that you go. He ain't going up today. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm tired, but like you can't say no. Even the time you like, listen, I don't want to have sex, whatever. Too. If you say no, it's a whole attitude, whatever. Too. Like you say, you get turned down all the time. But women got to be able to communicate. Like, you know what, he is tired. Let me just like, you know how many times that you horny, you want to get it in, and they hit you with the. It's not gonna happen today. And then you like, what the fuck is going on?
Another
you know
thing
what I'm saying? So
tight.
the communication level, I feel like even it's not just about being married. I think in relationships in general, these are things that should be discussed,
absolutely,
and should be worked on, because that could lead to cheating big time. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a lot of times that's
especially
what
if I've had a conversation like you said.
The conversation is key with that.
I totally agree. Another thing also, because women also, women have a natural reaction of like, if a woman is not in that mood and stuff like that, it's going to be, dry down there. It's not going to lubricate. It's not going to. A lot of times you can't really get into the situation because of that. But then, and then we as men we.
I get you. You give me a shot. I get you.
I hear you. Without even expanding on that, I hear you. But on the same token, right? It's sort of like, obviously you can unnaturally get the situation lubricated, extend whatever. But women also got to understand, like, another thing, with marriage, and I'm probably gonna get my ass kicked because this is a marriage focused thing. But it's sort of like like Clifford was saying earlier and stuff like that. Like before, like when you're dating and early in the situation, lingerie, sexy things, and then before it's just like now it's moo-moos and like fucked up shorts and tank tops and shit like that. But they still expect you to get excited on the drop of the hat when you have nothing to stimulate you to get the drop of the hat. Like, yo, just like you need to get turned on to get wet. Like my meat only gonna jump if I'm excited.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we need to have some kind of intro for that to happen. But women's just like, what are you like? Why don't we just get up? Like I'm supposed to freestyle DJ finger roll to get you a situation, like but you want me to sim salabim and make it jump up. You know what I'm saying? Like it. And that's like you said, the miscommunication that we had.
And then I wish we can just have that conversation with them too. But then it's like, oh, you being insensitive. Like it's some of the things you're trying to protect the person sometimes, which also could hurt the relationship too. So it just got to be a balance somehow. She got to be able to understand that I'm coming from a good place with it. Vice versa too. Men got to be able to.
I think because I have a friend. This is bullshit, right? I have a friend, but it's true though. Like, so when I was in college, I had a real good buddy who was, I think he was like maybe 14, 15 years older than me. Same thing. He had been married for a while and stuff too. And he would give me all these different tips because him and his girl, like, him and his wife, just the manner of their relationship and the way they interacted with each other in terms of the type of shit he loved and was into and how she responded to that and vice versa. It sounds cliche, but they really were like best friends, And like this is years ago. This is like 2004, 2005. And to this day, they're still very happily married and everything. And he'd have these talks with me about how like, yo, the biggest issue in our relationship was communication. But he said it's not just communication. He's like, communication comes in different forms. And he's like, for me, as I was getting older, we've been together since, high school. So he's like, by the time you hit a certain age, things start changing with you. And he's like, you got to have that conversation with your woman. Like, listen, it's getting a little harder for it to get up, or it's getting a little harder for me to keep the stamina up.
I always tell niggas like, yo, you hit a certain age, you got so many great erections in you. Like you don't get the same erections when you was early and stuff like that.
So what ends up happening is like when you have a woman that you're close with and married and you have that connection, you have these conversations, and like when you let go of that embarrassment and open yourself up to the conversation, you can start talking about whatever, whether it be toys, whether it be different types of pills or different things. It's just literally boils down to conversation, and no matter what the category of the conversation
It's all
is.
about ego too, right? It's just like when you take the ego out the situation, you kind of be able to talk. You could be like, yo, is this gonna be like a marathon session? Is this gonna be like we trying to steal a moment real quick? Is this about me this time? Is it about you this time?
Like,
right? You gotta understand, like, you know, men with this egos, that's like, yo, I had to come in all night and stuff like that. Like, yo, you know, certain times it's just like, yo, certain situations is gonna be like, you know, you get yours and she don't get hers, but in certain situation, gotta be like, you know what? It ain't even about me right now. It got to be about her. Yeah. But we got to graduate to that. But a lot of times we have so many egos in relationships. I'm Big Daddy, long strokes and shit like that or whatever. and we approach it that ego. And then at the same time, sort of like, you know, you get to the point where sometimes you even though you're supposed to know when your partner has reached that point and stuff like that, sometimes it goes for such a long time that, you know, sometimes people start to like fake it because they don't want to hurt your ego and stuff like that, and you just be like, oh, I heard the noises that I need to hear. I'm good. Like, you know, you need to check in and really, really appreciate the person like that. But at the same time, a lot of times we operate with ego, and we're not really worried about that. You with someone long enough, sort of, it got to be certain like situation like, yo, is this going to be a quickie or not? Yeah. If it's not going to be a quickie, nah, it ain't no time for it. And that's how relationships work, where it's just like, you know what, the sex schedule thing is sort of like, oh, I got shit to do, we can't do this and stuff like that. Cool, had that conversation. But a lot of times, you know, people get to the point where it's just like, oh, I'm not in the mood or I don't have time, and then it's nothing. Nah, it got to be certain things. It may not be the whole thing. It might be a little something. It might be a hand situation. It might be like, yo, I freestyle on you, but you don't freestyle on me. You got to have the wide range of things out there.
Look at the stress involved. Look at all the stress.
All the
in a relationship, in a marriage. If you just out here doing your thing, you don't care. You like, yo, you better get yours before I get mine, chick. I'll lose your number. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So in a marriage, it's like, I didn't perform that good last night. The breakfast is bad this morning.
And then, no, you know, it's just like, listen.
You worried about how she feeling.
Marriage is, listen, a lot of times is, marriage, you got to do a lot of things that make you uncomfortable. The checking in thing, the listening, certain things like, I'm a grown ass man that pays all his bills on time. Yeah. I take care of my kid, my daughter, whatever. But then I got to check in. I got to do this. That's what marriage is like. It's like being at another school level sometimes. You know what I mean? You say like, it's like you graduated high school, you graduated college, you went to get your bachelor's, now you got to go back to school again. It's like, that's how it could be sometimes. And vice versa too. Your lady got to do certain things that she don't want to do. Learning. Like, ladies, listen, ladies don't want to give you head all the time. Whatever, too. But they, some ladies, that's real talk.
That broke my heart. No. Like, you hear a lot of married women say that I don't like giving head. And their husbands don't know that shit till after the ring came on, and it's been chilling for years.
A lot of times, like, it all boils down to the communication and the conversation. Sometimes you think because you pounding it out, you think you great at sex, but you did absolutely nothing for it. Sometimes slow dicking is what got her to go crazy. So it's all about having that conversation and being okay that you can handle it. Some guys can't handle. What you talking about? Killed it last. No, you didn't. She didn't even come last night.
But you stopped asking her. She liked you. Stopped checking in. So she just let it go down.
No, she liked you and loved you, so she made you feel like you was the warrior.
Exactly. So let me ask this last question: relationships, a commitment, or contract. How do you approach it? But really, do you find it beneficial to commit to someone, or is it better to have no obligations but just love and respect?
I feel like that depends on the person. Like me, I'm the type of person I don't like. I can't deal with multiple people, so I'm the type of person that just want one person, just call it a day. I mean, I'm a helpless romantic, so.
Oh, that's cool.
We need more of those out there.
Yeah, so if I can get married, I'm with it, whatever or not. But I gotta find that special person. I'm not with all the bullshit. Trust me, I'm not with the bullshit. I'll curve you real quick as soon as I see a flag. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it depends on that person. It depends on the person, 100%, and what you're willing to put up with, and what you're willing not to put up with.
So is it better to commit to someone or just like have no obligations on one, just have love and respect? What do you feel?
I mean, I'm a Libra, so I'm ruled by Venus. I'm super into like committed relationships and stuff. I was in a committed relationship for 11 years. You know what I mean? And for me to be as young as I am,
11 years.
and
damn.
you know, shit hit the fan and it came down in flames. But it's one of those things where like, so, you know, I've done the whole dealing with multiple people thing at 1.2 or a few times or whatever, and it's a headache because you end up getting pulled in so many different directions. You end up getting people who get upset because they can't see you when they want to see you, how often they want to see you, the way they want to see you.
It's a lot of work.
And it's weird because like it puts you in this weird headspace where it's like, you know, you don't feel like you know, like you said, you know, the zeal or nothing, but sometimes it's like, Jesus, can I please just, I'm gonna see you when I see you.
Yeah.
And you know, it just becomes a lot of work. But as far as like, you know, that's why I'm really much into women who are not specifically into what I'm into, but have something going on where they themselves are creative. You know, they themselves have things that they, you know, whether
they busy too.
Yeah, they're busy.
They're busy too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that busyness
My
also
woman gotta
feeds,
work.
you know. So I'm like, what you doing?
My woman gotta work for my sanity. Because when she home now, she's into everything I'm into, and I don't need that.
See, and that's the
After
thing.
a long
Like,
day.
I don't even
You
necessarily
gotta stay
mean,
busy.
I don't even
You gotta
necessarily
stay busy.
mean. I don't even. Well, yeah, stay busy. Like, I don't even necessarily mean like.
But they
like
gotta have
the
a
working,
passion.
But a passion, a
Yeah,
drive.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because you know, I've dated people where they're not necessarily into things. So when you're busy or you're doing stuff or you're linking up with people or you get, you know,
They're all on your phone.
Yeah, they're all on your phone or it's an issue or they can even know that you're busy but still be trying to, you know. So I think having someone where I just believe more in just committing to a person and having that relationship, vibing off one another, helping build each
Not
other
to
up.
personally dig into your situation, but like you said, for you to be a young person using a committed relationship for 11 years,
Yeah.
and then it ended. Like, how did you rebound after that? Because 11 years is a long,
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Like I've been with my wife for 13 years now, right? And then, you know, a lot of time, I always joke with her like I'm a domesticated cat. I'm not out here chasing shit because I'm just so domesticated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But just to think about it, a lot of times people stay in marriages and relationships because it's like, yo, for the last 20-something years, this is all they know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like for me to deal with a new personality, like on some consistent shit, like it's easy enough to do certain things or whatever to get to what you want, and then you just keep it moving. But like to reestablish your whole situation. So how did you get back into the game after 11 years?
Shit, it wasn't easy, that's for sure. I mean, it was interesting because
Whores.
I think
No, listen to listen, as you can see, he's the wild card out of all of us.
nah. I mean,
Fucked his sanity
to be
back.
honest with you, it kind of the biggest focus, and he'll tell you like the thing about my cousin that I've always admired is like I'm one of those people where I do get frustrated easily sometimes, and it's easy for me to kind of like get in my own headspace, but. You know, he'd be on me constantly about like we need to finish this project, we need to do this, we need to do that, and honestly, that breakup was kind of the catalyst that got everything moving, that got me to finish the album, that got me to like really, you know, that got us to like, you know, get the crib together and set up the home base of operations, and I think the hardest part was reconciling that it comes in different parts. At one point, you kind of get over the aspect of. For me to be the age I am, you know, like half of 30 is 15. So when you with someone for 11 years, like that's basically half your life.
Yeah,
You know, so
yeah.
that's a lot to reconcile with, especially when you yourself don't see it coming, but that person was already over it a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, it was more so us just buckling down and like, you know, we'll have a nice, we'll have a few beers, a spark of or whatever. And I think the benefit of us both being spiritually introspective people allows us to get deep and like he'll get at me, you know what I mean? He'll be like, yo, when are we gonna do this? When are we gonna do that? So the biggest part was just really locking in, and that kind of got me over that first hurdle. And the second part was kind of coming to grips with the fact that once you're over it, that person's going to want to defend their character no matter what.
Yeah.
So there's certain things that will be said about you because they don't want to be viewed a certain because of their actions, and that kind of will put you in a weird headspace about your, you know, how you're being viewed and stuff. So that's something you got to get over too. And it's just been the music. It's just I think that was the biggest catalyst, was just really wanting to tie a bow
Before I
on
move
that.
to the next topic, right? There was a question on Hollywood Unlocked, which is an IG that I follow. And I just want the whole panel to answer this. Can you chase your dreams and be in a relationship at the same time? I'll start with you.
I was just gonna say everything.
'Cause he made me think about
got
that.
From what he said was remove the woman from the situation, and now the focus and the success happens.
It's like that. So,
You know what
so
I'm
that-
saying? But no, to answer the question,
Yeah.
can you be in a relationship and
can you chase your
can you
dreams
chase your dreams?
and be in a relationship at the same time?
It
It's
depends
supposed
how-
to work,
it
but
depends
when
how
you
deep-
know, it's like
depends
it's
how
hard.
deep and how secure you are in that relationship. If you start a new relationship with somebody and you focusing on, locking that down, it's going to take too much of your attention and too much of your time.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy you said that's
Especially-
literally the issue I'm in now. Like, but on our way here, that was the issue I was kind of trying to.
You got to
tackle
focus on
once,
what it
yeah.
is you're trying to accomplish and your goals, and that's the thing. That's the hard part of us as men, to find a woman who can still be satisfied and happy with us while we trying to obtain a certain level of success, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's not easy.
That's a fact.
Because honestly, they want to be priority number one. And that's not going to be it. I can't have you as priority number one. I got to have this goal as priority number one if I'm ever hope to obtain it. And you got to accept that.
You just made me
backseat.
think of something that's controversial, right? But a lot of times, with these athletes, right? Like you see these athletes, and they go to schools like University of Oklahoma, University of Kansas. They from the hood, but they went to these wild schools and stuff like that. And then you see them wind up married to these white girls, and then everybody's tripping and stuff like that.
The
But
white girls know.
but a lot of times.
Go. I'm just going to suck his dick and make sure he's good.
Yo, that's the
so
point.
He can accomplish that goal.
That's the point that a lot of people don't want to hear.
I'm not going to
A lot of
stress him
people,
out.
a lot of times, especially black women of color say like, oh, he left us for like, no, you understand? Like, I've seen it where it's just like, yo, you in high school, you younger, you always hollering at the sisters and stuff like that. They're always playing you. Sometimes the sisters are chasing the D-boys, the older cats and shit like that and stuff like that. And then these dudes go out to like Nebraska, middle of nowhere and shit like that. And then they meet, Becky or whatever, who's about them 100% and understand
They
like,
must have
yo,
went to school
They come
for
into
that
every
shit.
practice.
I understand like, yo,
They must have
this is my
Tiger
goal.
Bomb and
This is my
yeah.
goal. Shorty
You
doing
got a paper you
everything.
need done? Don't worry about it, honey. Rest your
But
knees.
you
That's the
gotta-
part.
Paper
That's
for
the
you.
part that. That's the part that don't get promoted. All they say is that, oh, he's a sellout. He did this and the other. But like, yo, sure, you think Shorty wasn't down with him because she didn't, Becky wasn't from Compton like he was from Compton. But since he knew Becky and Becky knew he had a dream, Becky rode with him. Mm-hmm. But that's the part that people don't want to promote. That's the controversial part. People just think, oh, he just got with her, so he thinks he's better because he got a white woman and stuff like that. Yeah. Sometimes part of it is the way that Shorty held him down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
Even before he knew he was a guaranteed thing. Because women be like, oh, she knew he was an athlete. Like, yo, there's a million athletes. There's 450 people in the NBA. There's a million cats who play ball.
yeah, that's a fact.
And there's 500,000 who everyone think like, yo, he got a shot.
I think the hardest part is that being in a relationship and you trying to accomplish goals or focus on your dream. She got to understand your dream, and she got to have some kind of understanding where she believe in you and what you're trying to do accomplish. She got to take herself out of the situation and realize it's gonna be a sacrifice. If that's important to you and she wants to be with you, she understand. But it's never. It start off. Oh yeah, everything's good. Don't worry about it. Then you start missing a couple of dates. You start doing this because you have to. Because now you in grind mode. It becomes a problem. Yeah. So you gotta really find the focus on. And I'm a former athlete. I play high school, college basketball too, whatever too. And I dated a lot of white girls. And I ended up with a Dominican black woman too. And the difference between is, because I could talk about it from both perspectives. The difference between is, it's not saying that white girls are gonna do exactly what you say, whatever too. Sometimes with the and I'm not trying to put it out there. Sometimes it's not about being submissive. They listen to exactly what's going on with your situation, and that's what happens to some of these athletes. They was dealing with the girl in high school, whatever, too, when they tell them what they're not gonna do, and then they get to college and they feel like, I'm free. I could just be relaxed. I could just focus on. I'm gonna be the number 5th pick next year in the draft. You think I want to be dealing with you talking about? I didn't call you at 10:30 last night. I didn't do this. Like all that drama.
I know what you mean, and that's that agreeableness we look for too.
It's not saying that I'm white girls are better than black girls. I'm not saying that at all. But it's the attitude and the approach is a whole different dynamic. Because I'm speaking on a level of dating both. The attitude and the way that the approach of a situation of
we gonna get flamed to this. But I'm gonna throw another brick on it.
No, it's not about a flame. It's the attitude. Listen, the difference between dating a white girl and dating a minority, like an African American, Spanish girl, Latino too, is the attitude and the approach of the situation. Like I said, I dated a lot of white girls. I dated a lot of sisters and whatever, because I can speak from both perspectives. It's the approach about it. Sometimes the approach about it When they come to you correctly, you're gonna want to get it done. When you coming to me talking to me like I'm a kid and I'm a grown man, we're not gonna get nothing done.
Let me add one more element to what you're saying, right? That's another problem we have in our community, right? Because so many times that black women are brought up and taught like black men ain't shit, black men ain't this and that and the other. It brings an attitude and a stigma into relationships where it's just like sometimes black women approach black men like you ain't shit, you ain't gonna do this and stuff like that. Whereas just like people from outside of the situation, they don't carry this weight of stigma that he's not going to be shit and stuff like that. And they kind of just allow that man to be who that man's supposed to be. Yeah. And a lot of times it's not a lot of stress and the drama. I'm married to a Latino woman, so my Latino woman kind of had the same, black woman kind of vibe where you taught your men certain things like that. But a person foreign to that is just sort of like, she's not bringing that baggage about this person being not shit like that and kind of letting that person be who that person's supposed to be.
But you know what, though? I think a lot of that is also, we got to also, I understand that, I think we also have to be cognizant of the fact that there's a lot of social conditioning that goes into, when you think about, the time period of, welfare. And in order for you to be supported, the man couldn't be in the house.
Yeah, that was,
and then you have women who
that was such a grimy thing.
So, if you were a young girl...
That's a great dynamic.
And you see, you see in a lot of black movies, too, where the black man would have to hide. No, I'm just saying what he's saying. Black men would have to hide when welfare did their check to make sure that he wasn't in the house.
So if you're a young woman being raised by a mother who has that type of dynamic, whether the father has to hide or the father's actually not there and all these different things, now you become with this whole, that's where the whole strong black woman thing comes from, and that's where the whole independent thing. I think our women, even though they are strong, even though they are, powerful, I think that they still deserve to be demure, to be feminine, to be protected. They don't always have to be in alert mode. They don't always have to be in I'm gonna get this shit done mode. But what ends up happening is
a lot of our women are conditioned to be that way.
Yeah, and what happens is
constantly
the
attacked,
actual
that's why.
the cause is such an old cause, but the effect rings on forever. So at that point, the cause doesn't even get brought up no more. All we talk about is just the dynamic between the man and the woman. So it just turns into yes, a lot of our black women behave this way through just decades and decades of social conditioning, and then you have our black men who respond to it a certain way because of decades and decades of social conditioning. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you in the hood and I'm in the hood and we both struggling, and your thing is you the man, you're supposed to do this and do this and do this and do this, and I can't even work a fucking double at the MCA or Con Ed and come back and get a home cooked meal because you're so independent. It's
outside of crack. That's the second worst.
And just those hard working blue collar jobs that keep shit running.
He was so that's how No, but to be honest with you, outside of crack, that's the second worst thing that a narrative outside of our community that pushed in that separation of making the black man and the black woman both feel like we don't need each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Outside of crack, that's the second worst thing that destroying our community.
But what to go back to what he's saying is, and I'm trying to tell you because I dated both sides. That's why I could speak on it. I'm not trying to diminish my sisters. I've married a black woman, African American, Spanish, Latino woman. So and I've dated a lot of white women too. So I could speak on both sides. The problem is a lot of times minority women, they're not used to building their man. They're tearing down their man before the man even established to trying to be great. Yep. And that's
because they was told he wasn't shit.
And that's the difference between some of these white girls. And listen. Well, I'm not saying white girls are better than blacks, whatever, too. A lot of times white girls are saying, listen, do what you got to do. Figure out what's going on with you, and then I'm coming through, too. I'm coming to help. And that's the only difference. I'm speaking through experience. I'm not speaking just freelancing.
I don't know. The one white girl I dealt with said I raped her. So you got to be careful.
No.
You can't.
You
See, now I need you to mute. He got to open.
No, what I'm saying is,
I don't want to, incriminate you, but...
Please,
I don't... No, like what I'm saying is this. That's the difference between the two from my experience. I'm speaking from my experience. I don't want it to be like, oh, you saying that way? No, I'm not saying that white girls. Listen, I'm married to African American Latino woman, and I love my wife, and I love the black sister. What I'm saying is, you gotta learn that when the black man is up, we all up.
We all up, yeah.
And that's the thing about it. When the black man is up, when the black man is working and he's strong, he's providing, he can be a good husband, a good person in a relationship. He could be talked to. When he doesn't have a job or he feels diminished, now he doesn't want to take care of that kid. Now he doesn't want to be around you, who he feels like this is the reason why he. It's a lot of things that the psychologically that could fuck you up as a man if you got to deal with that. So that's why sometimes the white women get a better part of that black man sometimes because she just said, "Listen, man, do what you got to do."
She don't have the baggage. She don't have the emotional baggage and the generational baggage.
I want to say this again. I'm speaking through experience. I don't want it to be like, oh, I'm diminishing the black sister or something. I'm just saying that's the reason why the approach of it. Yeah. It goes, like I said, when the black man is up, the family's up. The dynamic is up. Yeah. When the black man is down, everything goes down. He doesn't want to take care of the kids the same. He doesn't want to respect you the same because he's going through stuff anyway.
Yeah. So no, I feel you. I think my dynamic is slightly different just because like this is when I was 16, you know. So as far as like an adult male, and I gotta be frank when I say this, you know, I've made pretty much a conscious decision to not like actually like date.
No, but you have a reason to. You have a reason to
date like as a young black man, like to just date like white girls. You know what I mean? And like. So I definitely see your angle, and sometimes I think we also have to take into account that a lot of these white women they may behave that way as far as the support and things, but then a lot of them are calculated. They're real calculated at seeing the long run
and
seeing where this could potentially go.
Every woman calculated. But every woman is calculated.
I'm thinking more the sports angle and dealing with
but every woman's calculated. So some of these other women need to play their poker hand right too.
This is true. Yeah. This is true. Yeah.
Right. We all calculate if you think about it.
But see, it's different as a man though.
Nobody wants to be with somebody that doesn't have golden ambition.
I just want to know how you got away with not getting incarcerated or whatever from that situation. Because that just sounds crazy.
I definitely believe in my heart it has everything to do with age, and what I mean by that is with age comes ignorance. So you'll have people who make accusations without doing this, I guess, sneaky due diligence to cover up their bullshit lies. You know what I mean? So as a 16-year-old, you're dating somebody you meet, and then they live in a different state. And what ends up happening is when you go to visit this person, I'm a sneakerhead. I've been a size like 12, 13 since 7th grade. So I've gotten and kept pairs over the years, and I'm always bringing, when I travel, I bring multiple pairs with me. So going to visit this person, and also I'm someone when I travel, I bring my video games with me. If there's a TV, I'm gonna hook my shit up. So sometimes I got myself in a position where this person was counting on me having certain things with me just to have certain people, make a move on me, set me for the jokes, and then try to arrange the situation as if I assaulted her but again, being 16, we have AOL, we have messages, we have emails, so there's things to protect yourself. But the fact that it happened was disheartening. You know what I mean? So
to be honest with you,
try to set me up OD.
A white woman killed one of my best friends, and because
it was the most.
But because he was a big dude, 6'2", looked like an NFL. What's the name?
275.
They just completely put it on. Oh, it was self-defense and then dropped the situation. But the same woman had a history where someone else she messed with wound up dying and stuff like that, but they didn't even do the investigation.
See, and if you think about it, they do this thing with kids. Like when you think about everything that happens with like these young black kids that get shot, or when there's an issue in school, the first thing they describe us as he was like this crazed demon, or he was just like they make
everything negative.
Yeah, like this is a kid. This is a kid, but they describe this kid like he's some crazy overpowered giant, like you know what I mean? Like they're about to get attacked by the Hulk or something. Like you're not a young kid.
The gift and the curse is I love when we have these deep-rooted conversations where it's just like, the structure of the show gets tossed to the side and we just, communicate flow. But I didn't want to, interrupt anything. I want to cover another topic, and we only got like 5 minutes, so we're going to kind of keep it's platforms, right? Because this is a platform, right? And, the difficulty we have is just like, you have a platform, you create your own stories, but at the same time, now we're in a time where a lot of people have different platforms, so how do you differentiate yourself? So we're going to talk about that for the next 5 minutes. And the question is, platforms, is it harder to separate yourself or easier to get lost amongst the crowd? First question, social media has given more people a chance to become stars. However, it's also made the pool even wider. So what's your thoughts on that?
The game is definitely saturated now.
Oh, for sure. But I think that's
even podcasters from when we started to now. Yeah. There's like 5 million more podcasters now than from when we started.
Crazy.
It's definitely harder to it's definitely hard to differentiate. How you
Yeah,
differentiate. Your specific art to the world, because there's so many people doing it, and I guess it's your community. The community you build has to be behind you, and when your community's behind you, then people will follow. That's how I feel it works, because it's just so many people doing the same thing right now. It's madness.
What do you think?
I know. For me, it's a different approach. I feel like it's absolutely saturated, but I think that's the dope thing about it, and that's because so many people are doing so much of the same thing that it's easy to look at it and figure out. Because, like, for example, when you think of the internet, or when MySpace and all these things became a thing, you have this thing and you look at it like, how do I utilize this thing? But then you have, over time, people start utilizing it and they start doing it in a way where you can look at the formula and be like, okay, so this is the formula everyone's come up with. Now you can kind of break it down, take it piece by piece, and then figure out how to reformulate for something that works for you. So, like with us, like with Instagram and everything, there's just certain, whether it be Instagram or Twitter or TikTok, there's just certain, like with my music, with my branding, with who I am, there's just certain artists, there's certain movies, there's certain pop culture references, there's certain things that I'm into that ties to who I am as an artist, and just honing in on those communities, and then just kind of basically injecting yourself, and then figuring out the marketing from there, and then figuring out the movers and shakers in those divisions, and then aligning yourself with them. It's so easy to DM somebody now for promo, and now, you know what I mean? And now that's a relationship established.
Yeah.
So I think that it is saturated, but it's made it easier to figure out how to play the game, because everyone's got this blueprint they've been following for so long. So you can look at that blueprint and kind of just extrapolate what makes sense for you from it.
I agree with you about it is saturated, but at the same time, it's sort of like the also good thing is just like it's so many examples of success that you could kind of take certain things and then flip it, right? For instance, like when you in the hood, there's a Chinese food store on every other block, but they all getting money, right? Because it's sort of like you develop a niche, like, yo, I go to this Chinese food store, I like this certain thing.
Yeah, this one's Tex-Mex, this one got the best wings, like,
and exactly, it's like you said, is learning to speak to certain audiences and things of that nature. Like, for instance, when we first started, Facebook was our primary thing and things of that nature, and then out of just expanding our reach, I was just like, let me start cutting clips of our show onto Instagram. And then I started to like tag celebrities. And our biggest shout out, we got a shout out on the Breakfast Club, like, yo, shout out to this, our podcast. He promoted it on Instagram, and then he took it to the radio, Charlemagne the God, and he shouted at us on the radio. And it just so happened from a clip that I cut on Instagram. I say that to say this, is like, it's a lot of people doing it, but you got to develop your audience, develop your voice, and speak to them. I don't do the podcast, or we do the podcast thinking that 5 million people are going to listen to us, but maybe the 10, 15,000 that listen to us can grow from 10, 15,000, then 20, 50,000, and grow from there. You know what I'm saying? But you got to speak to your audience and be authentic. So that's why I feel like it's tough, because what made the game crazier is before it was just media people or people trying to be media people doing podcasts. But not every celebrity is doing their own podcast to avoid having to go to everybody else. Fat Joe and, Nori, the drink champ, and things of that nature. Now the artists are like, yo, I'm not going to certain people for interviews. I'm doing my own interview. But at the same time, I enjoy their stuff, but I still like to hear common people. Like, he's the king of listening to different podcasts and putting me on things of that nature, because everybody's voice is different, so it's a different story being told. You know what I'm saying? What do you think?
I mean, I just feel like the platform it's a beautiful thing, because you don't have to necessarily just talk, like even with music, like you're an artist, whatever, too. You can literally have a whole underground scene and make millions of dollars. Like I was listening to the Breakfast Club interview yesterday with Young Blue. And he was talking about, I made $1 million since I was like 16, 17 years old, because I had a cult following underground scene that I was touring for $25,000, $30,000. And he was like, I blew up with the Drake song when DeMarcus Cousins hooked him up. But I'm saying this platform now is like, you got so much. So if you put the work in, you can be successful. It's not, it's everybody's not going to be a millionaire. That's just not how life works. Everybody's not going to make $200,000-$300,000 in their lifetime. This is how it works for. But you can live comfortably and provide for your family with this new platform all the time. It's just a matter of you keep working. Some of these rappers are not even good rappers, but they work hard.
The persistence.
They work hard.
Consistency.
They work hard. If somebody that keeps saying the same bars that's corny, but you hearing all the music, you're like, you know what? Let me listen to it. I like
Lil
this
Baby
artist.
grew on me. I thought Lil Baby was trash when he
I'm a
came
big
out,
Lil Baby
and
fan,
now he's the hottest thing out because
I've been
you
messing
work
with
on
Lil Baby
Yeah,
from
so
this is the last question because we got to wrap up. But I like what you said. Got to expand upon it because just like you said earlier, now you could just DM people stuff like I'm in DM conversations with so many different blue check people and stuff like that who's supposed to be big and stuff like that. Some people are authentic and they'll just talk to you.
Yeah.
You reach out to Spice Adams and Spice Adams have responded back to you like, you know, oh, I like what you're doing, keep it up and stuff like that. Like, you know, people with $1 million followers and things of that nature. So the last question would be, you know, are you obligated to speak on social issues if you have a massive following, or is it better just to stay silent? And also, are you ready as someone who's kind of putting yourself to potentially be a public figure to lose the anonymity of your life and just become a public person? It's a loaded question, but it's...
You know, it's funny. The anonymity thing is funny to me because it's like I never believe my own hype, even though like he'll tell you all the time. He'll be I need to. I'm one of the most. I have this thing where I say I'm the most cocky, humble, arrogant person most people will meet. But he'll tell you I need a lot more. Je ne sais quoi, as they call it, or whatever. But with all that being said, it's like I think that it's something I'm ready for. But at the same time, I just think that's something that you got to like experience it and see how you adapt. You know, as far as the social issues go. I always joke that I would never need like a publicist or something because I'm very confident in how well I carry myself and how well being as well spoken as I am, that I think I can navigate a lot of conversations without having to worry about that. But I don't feel that. Yes and no. I do not think you're obligated to speak on social issues, but if you've worked yourself into a niche where you have a specific type of fan base and you do a specific type of work, or like someone like Lupe or Kendrick, they rap and speak on social issues, so it would be weird for them to expect to not be asked about those things in interviews. But then if you're someone like Moneybagg Yo, like let the man rock. Or Cardi B, like let him rock. Like, you know, don't give them grief because if you ask Moneybagg Yo, what do you think of the Capitol rioters? I'm sure he has an opinion on it, but don't give him grief for not fully elaborating.
I
on
always
that
feel like
opinion.
if you're not educated on the situation and you're not going to add value, just let somebody else.
If you're not educated on it,
he said Cardi B. And
I mean, she's
Cardi B is somebody you wouldn't expect to have a serious
But she's into
opinion
politics strong.
or shit like that. But she always has an opinion, and she always has something to say. I would say it's not really a yes or no question. It's a just be true to you.
I mean,
And it depends.
She always have something to say. That's the problem.
I think there's a difference between having something to say
It works for
and then
her.
having, like, for example, when you look at like Biden and everything, I think they'll look at someone like Cardi and say, this is someone who's been pretty vocal about politics. And even though I love Cardi, it's let's be real, a lot of it has been surface level. So they'll take that and try to run with it and be like, look, we have Cardi B interviewing with us, as opposed to someone like, you know, Tech Nine or someone like, you know, freaking Tech Immortal. You know, like
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube. Like get people. If you get people like that into a conversation about it, it's gonna be a lot more intense than if you're talking to someone like Cardi.
Yeah.
And even though Cardi means well, I think that when they sit back and look at the potential people they can reach out to, they know what they're doing when they decide to pick who they pick.
Yeah.
You know.
Basically.
But honestly, it's just about being true to you. You got to be true to you. If you feel like you have to speak on it and it's in your fabric and you know what you're talking about, then do so.
Like you feel it to your core.
Yeah. If it's not you, don't do it.
And even then, this stuff you could really have an opinion on, where it's just like I'm not even going to touch it publicly, and you have to have the understanding of knowing when to pick those moments and just say I got no dog in this fight.
Yeah.
You know.
Unfortunately, this was a great episode, but we got to wrap up. We're coming to the end.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for being guests.
Thank you for having us.
Give
Thank
another
you.
shout out. Let them know how they could reach you. If you have any upcoming projects, incoming events, let them know.
Go ahead,
So yeah, you could reach him at
CodeSix.
CodeSix. You can reach me at Han, HAHN, Han.CodeSix. That's my Instagram name. Once you get to my Instagram, you can follow everything through my Linktree link. My YouTube, my Spotify, my Apple Music. We dropped our album. We dropped the album Madman over the Memorial Day weekend. It's been doing amazing numbers. Just want to thank everybody for their contributions. Han.CodeSix for Instagram, King Ice Guy.
King Ice Guy for Instagram, CodeSix Music Group for YouTube. You can also catch out Why'd You Eat That episodes, first season. If y'all want to check that out, that's crazy too.
We didn't even get into that. Yeah, we have a YouTube channel through CodeSix Media where, we have a YouTube channel where we just try different types of, like, the spiciest potato chip, the spiciest gummy bear.
Yeah. I like those things.
Cooking, culinary, and, just different unboxings. Like I said, I'm a nerd. I've been collecting kicks and sneakers and toys and shit for years. So we do unboxings for like different vinyls, different toys, different types of foods, potato chips, things from different countries. Like, I've been working in the tech industry for like 12 plus years. I've had tenure at Apple, Google, Palantir. I kind of did it backwards. And most rappers start with rap, and then they work their way into tech. I kind of built my career up in tech while focusing on music. So now I have this networking where, as the music takes off, there's a lot of stuff, relationships already established that we can kind of work that into our business and the entrepreneurial things we're doing behind the scenes. So Han.CodeSix, King Ice Guy. Just keep an eye out. The next project is Wrath of Heaven. Working on that now. There's no official release date yet. We're just kind of plugging away at things, but we working.
That's what's up. So Mike, you want to give a shout out before we head out?
Just shout out to our loyal supporters, everybody who show love to Views. Continue doing so. We're going to keep giving you that content that you want, man.
Can I say one thing? Shout out to Alex and Mindset Media.
Alex, Mindset Media.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
DTW too. Shout out our boys DTW.
Yeah.
The vibes.
All right, so like to piggyback on what Mike said, shout out to our loyal followers. This is our 101 episodes. We've done 101 episodes.
Nice.
And like I said, it's been a crazy ride to just doing episodes and not wondering if anyone's listening, to having Charlamagne the God give us a shout out and then plugging us on. It's just signs that God always just wants you to continue to work on your craft, continue to build upon your craft. Between us not doing much episodes, I started doing personal reaction videos. It's all good. And some people were like, yo, I thought that video was so funny. And just you just have to I like what you guys said you do unwrapping of things, and you have to be able to just continue to work on your voice and continue to support each other. My biggest thing is for us to support each other. We grow by building upon each other's audiences, and then also becoming family and networks of creatives. So I'd love to have you guys back. Maybe after you drop your next project, you could come back again and talk about the next project.
And then
we usually get artists to drop bars, but we running out of time. I ran over.
I was ready to, but
I ran over. So that was my fault. But we had such a good conversation flowing. I forgot to interrupt it. I'm usually more okay, we need to freestyle stuff and that nature.
We always love to come back.
Yes, we'll definitely have you back.
After the 100th episode, we cracked the next one right after.
Yeah,
it's a story.
So like I said, guys, thank you for the support. Continue to support Views, and we out. Peace.
Views from the friend zone. It's your time. We giving you real talk, so stay on your grind. We just trying to laugh and have a good time. We dropping them jewels so that all our people can shine. Views from the friend zone. It's your time. We giving you real talk, so stay on your grind. We just trying to laugh and have a good time. We dropping them jewels so that all our people can